The perfect evening of autumn sun printed golden sticker across the living room floor as Jungkook pressed the home into colors choices. Their expansive uh, leather coat, their designer home worth millions, suddenly felt like the smallest space in the world, warm and completely there. Jungkook breathed against his husband, his finger, the younger man, dark hair. At the party, Jimin said he dropped him off by 7. It's 6:15. Jungkook, his voice dropped to that low region that always made him turn curl. We have time. His laugh was cut off by another, this time more demanding. Jungkook from over him completely. One hand his jaw while the other roamed down his tracing the fabric of his silk. I have told you how beautiful you look today. Jungkook asked between his nose brushing against the cheek. Even after all this year, you still take my breath away. Tongue smile against his heart swollen with love. You tell me every day because it's true every single day. The becoming more. Jungkook had found the hem of the shirt smooth. The Jungkook screamed more from shock that pain, his hand flying up to against his husband. Jungkook's eyes went wide with the immediate concern. Baby, are you okay? Did I hurt you? He scrambled backward, nearly falling off the couch in his to check on his husband. Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm fine. I'm fine. Then laughing, covering his husband. What it feel? You just started me. That's all. Are you sure? Let me see. Appa, Appa. The small voice came from the doorway, and both men frozen in absolute horror. Their 3 years old son Teju stood there in his little party clothes, clutching a half-eaten cupcake in one chubby hand. His big eyes, round and innocent, looked at them with pure curiosity. Jungkook was still hovering over them, one hand on his husband, the other tangled in his hair. Taehyung was power beating him up like and slightly. Neither of them moved, neither of them breathed. Taeju finally managed his voice about 3 higher than usual. Baby, are you home early? Appa, were you eating? Papa, Teju was starting his head like a confused puppy. I saw you. Appa was Papa's. The silence that followed was deafening. Jungkook's face went from his skin, usually so warm, and turned a shade of red that could whirl at the autumn leaf outside. Taehyung wasn't funning much better. He made a sound that was somewhere between and whimper, his hand flying up to cover his face. Teju, buddy, Jungkook said slowly, streaming himself from his position on top of his husband. That's not. I mean, we were not. It just where you. He took a big of his cupcake across his cheeks, like how I eat my cookies because you were. Taehyung sat up so fast he nearly Jungkook. His face was the color of a tomato. Teju, baby, listen to me very carefully. He gave his son little shoulder, his eyes wide and whispered, Appa and Papa were not each other. We were just Jungkook, weekly. We were. That's what grown-ups do when they love each other very much. Taejan faced up in thought. But Appa screamed, that's because Appa accidentally me a little too. Taehan explains, soothing his husband. Look, that was part human and embedded. It was an accident. Jungkook defended himself. I would never hurt Appa on purpose. So Appa, you, because you. Teju asked, clearly tried to work out his new and confusing information. No, both parents shouted. Teju said, taking a deep breath and composing himself. He glanced at Jungkook, who looked like he wanted to into a hollow and never emerge. What you saw was just grow up stuff. It's something that Appa and Papas do when they are alone, but it's not something we talk about with other people, okay? Why? Because then started, then stopped it. How did you explain privacy to a 3 years old? Because some things are just for our family. You understand? It's our secret, our family secret. Jungkook nodded. Yes, a secret, Taejun. You can't tell anyone about this. Not Grandma, not Uncle Jimmy, not anyone. Promise? Taejun looked between his parents, his little face serious. He nodded. Promise. Taejun exhaled in relief. Good boy. Now, let's get you cleaned up and. But why? Were your open? Taejun asked, apparently not done with his interrogation. When you open your and you had your eyes closed. When I eat, I keep my eyes open because I don't want to miss the cookies. Jungkook made a struggle sound. Oh, Teju, Taeyong said, his voice strained. Let's put this conversation away from now, okay? Appa needs a moment. He looked at Jungkook, who was still bright red and staring at the ceiling as if praying for divine intervention. Your son, Jungkook whispered. He is your son. He is our son, Taehan corrected, and he is 3. He'll forget about this by tomorrow. Taejun, meanwhile, had already moved on to more pressing matter. Appa, can I have more cupcake? Uncle Jimmy said I could take some home, but I ate them all in the car. Then blinked. Oh, you ate all of them? There were 5. Taejun confirmed happily. They were small. Jungkook finally lowered his gaze from the ceiling, looking at his son with a mix of love and 5 cupcakes. Teju, that's a lot of sugar, but I am a growing boy. Taehan laughed, despite. Come on, let's get you changed into your clothes and brush your teeth. He Jungkook looked that said, we'll talk about this later, and scooped Taejun up into his arms as Taehan carried their son up the stairs. Jungkook slumped back into the couch, his head in his hands, his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Oma was calling. Jungkook stared at the phone like it was a said. his mother. His wonderful, loving, but incredible perspective mother who always seems to know when something was wrong. He let it rain. It stopped. A moment later, a text message popped up. Jungkook, are you free tomorrow? I want to come visit my grandson. Jungkook felt his soul leave his body. Both of them. The next message read Taehang and Taeju. I miss them. He looked up as Taehang come back down the stairs, his face and curious. Who was that? My mother. Jungkook said, his voice hollow. She wants to visit tomorrow. Taehang's face went pale. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, Taejun is going to tell her. He promised he wouldn't. He is there. 3. Jungkook. He doesn't understand what a promise means. Jungkook stood up, his hands shaking slightly. Oh no, we need to we need to leave. We need to move to another country. Somewhere far away where my mother can't find her. Jungkook, that's dramatic. You didn't see the look in his eyes there. He is going to tell her, I know it. And then she's going to look at me with that disappointed face and ask why. Why I am her precious son-in-law and I'm literally going to of embarrassment. Then walk over to his husband, wrapping his arms around his waist. We'll be fine, he said softly. We'll talk to Teju again in the morning. We'll explain this properly. Explain what exactly? How do you explain passionate to a 3 years old? We'll figure it out. Jungkook, his face in Jungkook's neck. I'm so embarrassed. I know, baby. Me too. They stood there for a long moment, holding each other. Then Taehang pulled back, a teasing smile on his face. But for the record, I didn't hate the Jungkook look up. His eyes were what? I said I didn't hate it. Just maybe next time a slow smile appeared across Jungkook's face. Really? Really? Taehang leaning in a sob to his husband, but let's make sure the door is locked next time. The next morning, after sunlight streamed through the curtain, as Taehang woke up to the feeling of Jungkook and wrapped around him, they were tangled together under the cover the way they always were in the morning. Jungkook's face was pressed against the back of his neck, his breathing warm and steady. Taehang smiled. This was his favorite part of the day, the quiet moment before the chores of pretending began. Good morning, he whispered, turning in Jungkook on. Jungkook hummed, his eyes still closed. Too early? It's almost 8. It's too early. Taehang laughed softly, running his finger through Jungkook's messy hair. Your mother is coming today. Jungkook's eyes snapped open. Oh, I thought we agreed we were moving to another country. We didn't agree to anything. We should have. Jungkook sat up, running a hand through his hair. I have a terrible feeling about today. Just your mother. Taehang said She loves her. She never judges. She never judges you. Jungkook corrected. I'm her son. She has no problem judging me. Jungkook, remember when she caught us making out in the kitchen during Christmas? She told me I was the food. Taeyang couldn't help but laugh. That was 5 years ago, and you were literally on top of me on the counter because you looked so good in that apron. The point is, Taeyang said, finger his smile. We survived that. We all survived this too. A small voice came from the doorway. Appa, Papa. Both men turned to see Teju standing there in his little dinosaur clothes, rubbing his eyes. His hair was sticking up in all, and he was clutching his favorite stuffed bunny. Good morning, baby, Taeyang said warmly, opening his arms. Come here. Taejun padded over and climbed onto the bed, sitting between his parents. Jungkook pulled the cover over him, pressing a kiss to his forehead. Did you sleep well? Jungkook asked. Oh, yes, Appa. Taejun snuggled closer to his Appa. Appa, I dream about cookies. Of course you did. Taeyang laughed. You ate 5 of them last night. Can I have more today? We'll see. Jungkook cleared his throat. Taejun, remember what we talked about last night? About the grow-up stuff you saw? Teju looked up at his father with those innocent eyes. Oh, yes, Jungkook said, his face heating up again. You remember what Appa said? This is our family secret. Oh, yes, Appa, so you won't tell anyone. Taejun thought about it for a moment. Not even Grandma? Especially not Grandma, but Grandma gave me cookies. Jack exchanged a panicked look with them. I'll give her cookies too. Lots of cookies. Just don't tell Grandma about the. Okay? Appa. Okay. Taeyang sighed in relief. Good boy. Now who wants breakfast? The visit Kim Min-ji arrived at exactly 10 o'clock as she always did. She was an elegant woman in her late 15s with Jungkook eyes and a warm mental smile that could anyone. Teju ran to the door as soon as she rang the bell, throwing himself into her arm. Grandma, my little prince. Minju scooped him up, preparing his face with kisses. Oh, how I miss you. Have you been good for your appas? Yes, Grandma. Taeyang appeared in the hallway, his smile bright but slightly nervous. Oma, welcome. Please come in. Minji walked into the living room, sitting Teju down on the couch. Where's my other son? Working on some file in his office. Taeyang said, he'll be out in a moment. Always walking. Minju sighed. That boy needs to learn to relax. Jungkook chose that moment to appear, looking like he just ran a marathon. His hair was slightly and his smile was too wide to be natural. Oma, he said, his voice breaking slightly. You are here, Minji? raising an eyebrow. Are you alright? You look like you've been seen a ghost. I'm fine, perfectly fine. Why wouldn't I be fine? Then his husband looked at, clearly said, calm down. I'm just happy to see you, Jungkook added a little more calmly. That's all. Minji looked between her son and son-in-law, clearly sensing something was off. But before she could ask any question, Teju tugged at her lips. Grandma, I have a question. Taehang felt his run cold. Teju, baby, why didn't we go get some juices? I'm not thirsty, Appa. Then maybe. Grandma, Teju said, looking up at his grandmother with those big innocent eyes. Why do Appas eat each other? The silence that followed was defensing Minju blinked. I'm sorry, what? Jungkook made a sound like a dying animal. Last night, Teju continued completely to the horror on his parents' face. Minji's eyes slowly moved from her grandson to her son, who looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole, then to Taehong, who had gone completely wild. Eating each other? Minji repeated slowly. Ah, yes, Grandma. Appa was Appa, and Appa was up, and Appa's on his, and Teju Jungkook practically shouted, That's enough. Teju looked up at his father, confused. But you said I could ask Grandma question, not that question. Minji's expression shifted from confusion to understanding and then to barely uh, suppressed laughter. Oh, I see. Oh, Ma, it's not what it sounds like. Jungkook started really because it sounds like you were getting a little carried away with my precious son-in-law. We were just, it was just, Tehang stepped forward, his face bright red. Oh ma, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean for Teju to see anything. It was an accident. Accident? Minji repeated, a smile playing on her lip. Your husband is an accident now. I him a little too. Jungkook out, but I didn't mean to. I would never him. Ninja looked at her son, then at her grandson, and finally burst out laughing. Oh, my boys, you two are absolutely priceless. Oh, ma, please don't worry, Minji said, waving her hand. I was young once too. I know what happened between married couples, but nothing. She turned to Teju, who was still looking between the in confusion. Teju, what's your appa were doing? Wasn't eating. It was. It two people each other. Where must they to show their love? But Appa was Tejung instance sometimes get a little enthusiastic. Minji explained, shooting her son a knowing look, but it's nothing to be worried about. It just means your Appa love each other very much. Didn't seem to consider this. So Appa screamed because he loved Appa. Exactly, Taehong, his face in his hand, Jungkook stared at the ceiling, praying for Now Minji said, clapping her hands together, who wants to help me make lunch? Aftermath, Minju spent the next few hours in the kitchen with Teju, teaching him how to make his favorite kimchi pancake. The sound of their laughter flowed through the house, correct to the tension in the living room. Jungkook sat on the couch, his head in his hands. Taehyung was passing back and forth, his anxiety. She know. Jungkook never. She know everything. Of course she know, Taehyung said. Teju told her in details with sound effect. I want to move. I want. I went to move to New Zealand. That's a little extreme. Australia, then anywhere, somewhere where my mother doesn't know what I was. My husband, Taehyung, stopped at panic and walked over to his husband. He in front of him, taking his hand. Jungkook, look at me. Jungkook looked up, his eyes full of embarrassment and something else. Later that evening, after Minju had gone home and Teju was fast asleep in the bed, Jungkook and Taehyung sat on their balcony looking out the city light. The autumn air was and cool, and Taehyung had wrapped himself in one of Jungkook's oversized sweaters. His husband was wearing a matching one, his hair still slightly turned from his shower. Today was Jungkook said, breaking the comfortable silence. It wasn't that bad. Your mother knew you, she knew you, me. That's a different. Is there? Then laugh, leaning his head on Jungkook's shoulder. Yes, Jungkook, there is for and record. I don't mind when you me. Jungkook trying to look at him. Really? Really? Taehyung smiled at him. You know I love everything you do to me. Every touch, every moment when I hurt you. And when, because I know you never hurt me on purpose. Jungkook's expression softened. He kept Taehyung's face in his hand, his thumb, his cheeks. I love you, Taehyung. I love you since the moment I met you, and I love you until the day I. That's very dramatic. Jungkook teased his eyes. In the truth, I know. Jungkook leaning in against Taehyung. You are my everything. You Are My Everything too was slow and gentle, and the passionate frozen of the night before. This was love in from soft, tender, and full of all words they didn't need to say when they apart. Then was smiling. I'm glad I married you. I'm glad you said yes. I never would have said no. Jungkook laughed, pulling his husband closer. What would I do without you? Probably a lot more. Probably they sat in comfortable silence a few more minutes, watching the star appear in the night sky. Jungkook, yes, baby, I think we should give Taeju a sibling. Jungkook on his own breath. What? A sibling? Taehyung repeated. I've been thinking about it for a while. Taeju is 3 now. He is old enough to understand the concept of a baby brother or sister. And I think we are ready. You want another child? Yes. Then turned to look at him. His expression serious. I want to have another child with you. I want to build a bigger family. I want to see you hold another baby in your arms, and I want to watch Teju become a big brother. Jungkook was speechless. He stared at his husband, his heart swelling with so much love he thought it might burst down. He said, his voice thick with emotion. Are you serious? I have been more serious in my life, but adoption takes time and the paperwork. I know we can start the process. Tahan is smiling, his eyes bright with excitement. We can start it together. Jungkook pulled him into his arms, hugging him so tightly that Tahan, I love you, Jungkook. Jungkook whispered in his ear, I love you so much. I love you too. You are going to be an amazing father to another child. We both will be. Jungkook pulled back, looking into his husband's eyes. We are going to have another baby. We are. And Teju is going to be a big brother. He is Jungkook. His earlier embarrassment completely forget. My mother is going to be so happy. She is going to be. I know they both burst out laughing, their joy filling the air night. 6 months later, the adoption agency had been paperwork, interviews, and home visit. But 6 months later, Jungkook and Taehyung stood in their living room, holding a little baby girl in their arms. Her name was Sojin. She had big brown eyes. Babies are small when they are born. Can I hold her? Maybe later. Jungkook said when you are a little bigger. Okay, Taehyung nodded. Then looked up at his parents. Papa, can I tell Grandma? Taehyung and Jungkook exchanged a look. The last time Taehyung had told grandmother something, it has been memorable. Sure, Jungkook said curiously, but maybe don't mention this time. Okay, Appa, and don't mention anything else that might be embarrassing. What embarrassing? Jungkook sang. Raman, just tell Grandma we have a new baby sister and that's she's cute. Yes, that's true. Teju nodded seriously. I'll tell her everything. Teju, just the good things. Appa, I promise. Jungkook relaxed slightly. Good boy. As Teju ran off the call, his grandmother leaning into Jungkook's side. Did it, he whispered. We have a daughter. We do. Our family is complete. Jungkook to his husband. Our family is perfect. We looked down at their little girl, their heart full of with love. I love you. Jungkook said, I love you too. And I love our family too. So Jane softly her tiny hand wrapped around Jungkook's fingers. She is going to be a handful. Just like her father, she is going to be perfect. Jungkook character just like her father. Taehyung laughed. You are impossible. You love me anyway I do. They shared a soft. Their daughter slept peacefully in their arm and their son happily chit-chat on the phone on the other room. The giant family was complete and it was perfect.